So because it is a list, what we have to do is we have to say as a list.of uh, in order to fix it, list.of users. So now you can see there is no compilation issues. Let's go to our testing module and let's test it. And meantime, what we can do is we can also go to the browser and we can see how the application is going to perform for these details on H2 console. So let's refresh it, connect it. Now, as we have coded, we have named the table to be user address. When we run it, we have like one record of user ID has 2 and 3. Um, and if you are looking into this record of 5, 6, this and if you see this 2, address ID being 2, is having multiple relations with 1 and 4, and as well as 1 is having multiple relations with 1 and 2. So in that way, it is one to many mapping from user side as well as sorry. It is many to many mapping between user ID and address. So let me go back to my user table and run it. So user table is very clean without any other details. Likewise, the address ID is also very clean. For this particular address, for address 2, the actual mapping defines. If you go to the user address table, you can see address 2 is having a mapping between user 1 and user 2, user 1 and user 4 as well. So all these records are related to the address 2. And from the user table, if you see it, 1 is mapped to address 2 and as well as address 3. That's how many to many mapping was achieved. So in our JSON object, if you see it, the same thing like for 2000 object, you can just see like uh, the address details where you have like two sets of address for a given ID, and you can also see like the address details will be repeated by browsing it. Anyway, we have seen that from the database, but I just wanted to show you that even on Swagger, where we can see how the mapping will look like array of JSON elements when we have multiple data types. So that's all for now. If you have any questions, kindly comment, and I'll also check. One of the learner has requested me to commit the changes onto GitHub. I will definitely commit sometime by this weekend. The reason why I am not committing now is if you run the coverage, just like if I run the coverage for the entire application, if the coverage is generally less than 70%, I don't tend to commit the changes. At least I ensure like it is between 70 to 80%. The reason why I have not mentioned it as a 100, because we have created other classes like user filter and user version, for which we have not written any cases. So excluding them, I'm expecting the application to have a good coverage. So that was the reason. As now I have just started talking about the coverage. Let's see like what is an existing coverage for this application, and let's see like how we can uh, uh, you know uh, have a good coverage which will be covered in the next video. So you can see that the report run when we ran for a coverage, it runs for the testing as well, and then it will produce a tab called as a coverage window, where it will say like what is the coverage of this particular case. Over here, as I said, like you can dig down when we are dealing with the coverage. You can always dig down to class level line number as well. For example, example, if I'm trying to talk about this exception handling, although we have coded it, there are no test cases. As I said in the start of the video, we should also write the test cases for covering the negative scenarios. Currently, our testing is not covering this scenarios. That is the reason why it is set to the 0. Likewise, the model, if you go for the class, you can see like what are the details that it is trying to talk about. And likewise the address, and if you expand the class, it will say like what are the methods that has covered and what are the methods it has not covered. So equals and hash code methods, we have not covered the testing for it. So that is the reason it is showing for equals and hash code methods in all the classes. So and rest of the things, so rest of the things in the classes, if you see it, rest of the details are covered in most of the classes. So that is the reason the overall percentage of this class has happened to be 20% with all these entity classes is roughly less than 30. So with this package it is roughly less than 30. A few details can be ignored, and that is the reason why I'm saying like it cannot be 100%. Like version control, which is completely taking 8%, and version filtering is taking like point 0.6. Put together, it is 5% of our coverage. So let's once those gaps are being built, definitely the changes will be committed, so that you can refer to the application code and keep learning. Thank you for watching, and c- uh, I'll meet you all in the next video discussing on the coverage and how we can bridge it. Once again, thank you.